Okay, class, today we have adding and subtracting integers. The only definition we have here that we need to go over is additive inverse. Basically, this is adding the opposite. So, you've already defined this, but here's a quick reminder. And when I say adding the opposite, that means the opposite number. So, if it's a positive, you're adding a negative type thing. All right. Basically, adding and subtracting integers, we're going to more or less call it combine, because instead of looking at adding and subtracting, we're going to look at combining or simplifying, putting things together. I like to use the example of organizing when we combine, and so we're making our brain organize this stuff. And so we're not really thinking about adding and subtracting, we're thinking about combining. So something that we need to remember is when we don't use a double negative. So the word here needs to be negative. And these are words like, in English, if you came to me and said, Mrs. Guyman, I'm not going to the bathroom, first of all, I'm going to say you're crazy, using not, right? But that really means that you're then going to the bathroom. So one more time. I'm not going to the bathroom means you're really doing it. Okay, so we don't like double negatives in English, and we don't use them in math either. Okay, so let me remind you that in math we see it like this. This is a double negative. This is saying not 3. If it's not 3, it's really 3. Okay, so that's an example of a double negative. Here's an example we want to look at. I'm going to show you some steps and talk about some things like sea of zeros that you may not understand or know. There's several ways to do this, and this is just the way that I found has helped the most students, especially students who are struggling a little bit with negatives and dealing with those numbers. A lot of times I'll use money as well, because this is a very practical lesson. When we're dealing with adding and subtracting integers or combining integers, we see this all the time. Your lunch account could be an example of this. Maybe you have money in your account, you go and pay for lunch, now they're going to subtract or take out money from your account. Maybe you didn't have money in your account, you go to eat lunch, you're going to now have a negative balance in your account. Okay, so these are very practical. You have to understand how to do this. So the first step is to cross out all plus signs. Okay, so we're just getting rid of this idea of adding and subtracting, and we're thinking about combining. And double negatives. So that's when we have that negative like this. Okay, oh, sorry, it extended here. I didn't see that. Okay, so in this example right here, we don't have any plus signs, but we do have a double negative sign. So I'm simply going to do this and just cross it out. Okay, now we circle each number and all signs in front of it. So what I mean by that, okay, step 2, we've crossed out our double negatives. We're going to circle the number and all signs in front of it. Well, this doesn't have anything in front of it, so we know it's positive. This doesn't have anything in front of it, so we know it's positive. Okay, that's the idea that our double negatives really is not, you're really doing it. Then we're going to use plus or minus to represent each number you have circled. So what I mean by that, here in step 3, and just for your information, this is a way to show your work. Some of you are going to start catching on and getting the hang of doing this without your positive, negative, and sea of zeros table, but I want you to try this on the first couple problems so I know you understand. So I'm going to take and put, I have 8 positives, okay, and I have 5 more positives. So I don't have any negatives, and I don't have any sea of zeros. When I talk about sea of zeros, this basically means that we're going to cancel out one positive and one negative and put it in the sea of 0. So that's saying that I have a positive and a negative. That's my additive inverse that we talked about up here. Those are opposites, and they're going to equal 0. They're going to cancel each other out, and they're going to become our sea of zeros. Okay, we don't have any in this example. So then my last step, whatever you have left, is your answer. And so I don't have any sea of zeros. I don't have any negatives. So the only thing I have here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Sorry about the lights. So I have 13 as my final answer. And that is what I would answer with. Okay? Another way to say this is 8, not 5. Well, remember, not is really a positive. So you have 8 and 5. When you put them together, you have 13. Okay? All right, we're going to do these together, and then you'll pause and try these ones. I'm going to do the first two with my sea of zeros, and then I want you to look at, and then I'm going to do 3 and 4 without my sea of zeros, and so you can see that it's done a little bit differently. So here is -4 plus -6, and I'm going to draw real quick my boxes here. So these are my positives, my negatives, and then my sea of zeros. And remember, we cross out all plus signs and any double negatives. In this problem, we don't have double negatives, but I have 4 negative numbers, or 4 negatives, I should say. And I also have 6 more. Now, oh, I forgot a step. I forgot to circle. That's important. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So don't forget to circle, because you need to see that that's the sign that goes with the number. So this is 4 negatives and 6 more negatives. Now, I don't have any positive, so I can't make sea of zeros. So my final answer here is just these inside my negatives. So I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 negatives, and don't forget to put that negative sign with it. Okay, this one. And like I said, once you get the hang of this and you start seeing it, you don't have to always draw this. I just want you to do it for a couple problems, just so you can start seeing it. Okay, I'm going to cross out my pluses. I'm going to circle my numbers with the sign in front of them. This time I see I have 12 positives, so I'm going to put 12 in here. Okay, and then I have 5 negatives. Okay, and then this is what when we see our sea of zeros. Do you see how I have a positive and a negative? So this positive and this negative will come over here and be a positive negative sea of 0. Okay, because it's going to equal 0. I have another positive, another negative, so they're going to once again equal a sea of 0. Positive and a negative will equal a sea of 0. Another positive and negative will equal a sea of 0. And lastly, oh my goodness, those lights. A positive and a negative will equal a sea of 0. Okay, so if they're in C's of zeros, then we're done. We don't need to include them. And we've crossed them out over here, or you can erase them if you have a pencil. I'm using pen so you can see it better, so I could not erase. So now I've gotten rid of all my negatives. You see how I have no more negatives? And that's our goal, is because we want only one group to have something in it. So what I have left is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positives. So my answer is 7. Okay, now let's look at number 3. This time I'm not going to do my sea of zeros, just to show you that there's other ways to do it. I'm going to actually use money here. Okay, I want you to think of this as money. Negative means you owe this to your mom or your dad or whoever you want to owe it to. So say you owe your mom $3 because she bought you something at the store. You get home, you have $8. Okay, so we have $3 and $8. Okay, so you're going to have to give your mom $3. Well, how much are you going to have left? Is it going to be positive? Are you still going to have it? Or is it going to be you still owing your mom? In this situation, the positive is ruling out the negative because it's bigger. So I'm going to give my mom $3 and I'm still going to have $5 left. Okay? And so my answer is positive 5. Alright, you can't see this one all the way. It is supposed to be a positive 9 minus 17. Okay, that cut off. So once again, let's look at this as money. I'm going to still circle the numbers with the sign in front of them. I'm going to look at 9 and negative 17. Well, if you think about this as you have $9, but you owe your mom $17. Well, you see that you're going to owe her more than you have. You're going to have to give her the 9, but you're still going to owe her money, right? And so 17 basically minus 9, okay? And you're going to still owe her $8. And so you are now in the hole $8, or negative 8. All right, we didn't see any knots. You'll have one on your pause and try, but I want you to remember if you see something like this, when it has a negative, remember to cross those out because those are not meaning we're really doing it. So this situation we would have 9 and we would have 8. You have $9, you have $8. How much do you have total? Okay? So pause and come back to the answers. I want you to try these. I know that this might mean that you have to actually write things out. I want you to really try it though. I think some of you get into the habit of just writing things down and then skipping ahead. This is where I know that you really are getting it and you know you're really getting it, okay? On this first one, if you'll try it with a sea of zeros, okay, use a table. On the remainders, if you know how to do it or if you have another way, please just show me your work and what you're doing. If you have questions, we'll address them tomorrow. All right, here are your answers. I actually showed you a sea of zeros for 1 and for 4. Then these ones I thought about it as money. I have $10. I owe my mom $5. I give her the 5. I still have $5 left. This one, I have $12, but I owe her 3. I give her 3. I have 9 remaining. Then this one, I wanted to show you a sea of zeros to show you that it really does equal 0. So I had 3 negatives and 3 positives, and when I got my sea of zeros, I ended up with nothing here and nothing here. Therefore, my answer had to be 0. Okay? So this is basically the additive inverse right here. These are opposites right here. All right, don't forget to do your Q&A.